all right. Well, I think it's Accordion Cool, but guess who forgot the sign today? So if I'm sitting here and you're listening to me, then I guess it's still Accordion Cool. Coach Dave here, and yes, we're back again. Now today there's no real theme. I'm just doing some different songs. I'm going to mention a few things, that have happened, the past few months or years or whatever. So this first song, not a lot of history, is called Be Mere Beast du Chêne. And it originated like in the Catskills, where they're back in the day, as they say, there were a lot of Jewish nightclubs and hotels and that type of thing. So that's where that song originated, around 1932, in a group called the Andrews Sisters. Now, I don't know if they were really sisters or not, but, well, we can find out. But the Andrews Sisters had a big hit on that in 1937. Wow, it's almost 100 years ago. Can you imagine that? So that's our first tune. Now, recently being, recent years, we've lost several important people in the music industry or parallel industries. And in 1962, there was a song written by Antonio Carlos Jobim, and of course that was in the middle of that great Brazilian Latin bossa nova invasion that we had. And it's called The Girl from Ipanema, and the story goes that he and his co-writer used to sit in this coffee shop or whatever and watch this girl. Every day she walked down to the beach. And so they wrote the song about the girl from Ipanema. Now originally, if I recall correctly, the story was that she was a news reporter on the local TV station, but I guess she wasn't. From what we understand now, she was like an 18-year-old girl, and they just saw her walking by every day, and finally she found out, the song was about her, and eventually she opened a boutique and called it The Girl from Ipanema. Well, they didn't like that much, and I guess they took her to court, but she won and was still able to call it The Girl from Ipanema. Now, I know a lady that went to Buenos Aires, or went to Ipanema, and went into that boutique and met that lady, that girl from Ipanema. Well, unfortunately, she is no longer with us. So this is dedicated to the girl from Ipanema, called, what's the name? Oh yeah, The Girl from Ipanema. Yeah, that's a good name for the song. The girl from Ipanema and her boutique, which I guess is still there. Well, this next tune, this is, I'm sure I've done this several times on the show and probably told the story, but it's a great story. And of course, every song has a story, and some stories are better than others. But this one, 1934, great songwriting group called Rodgers and Hart wrote this song. And Richard Rodgers wrote the music, and Lorenz Hart wrote the words and lyrics. And they were under contract to write a particular song for a movie, which was to star Mae West. Now, for those of you who have no idea who Mae West was, she was well, I don't know how you would describe her, but probably like a vaudeville star way back when, and became a movie star in the 20s and 30s. So they were contracted to write a song. So they wrote this particular song, and what happened? The project fell through. Never made the movie, so they got the song back, put it on the shelf. But a year later, a fellow comes in and says, "Hey," he says, "I hear you got a great song there. I'd really like to have it for a production I'm planning." He says, "Oh, great. This is about one thing. Would you mind writing a new set of words or lyrics?" Lorenz Hart says, "Yeah, sure, okay." Wrote the new set of lyrics, songs, gave the song to the guy. His project fell through, back on the shelf. This happened 2 more times. The last time, "Yeah, great, I get this thing, it's going to work, and would you write?" Yeah, Lorenz Hart says, "Yeah, I know, new words and lyrics." However, the 4th time was a charm, and the song became a song that we all know today. Dozens and dozens of musicians and singers or whatever recorded this song. Even some guy named the guy with the big house Elvis. Yeah. Even he recorded this little tune called Blue Moon. So let's see what it sounds like. Blue Moon, Blue Moon. Well, this next song is one of those that I want to dedicate to one of the people that left us. And this song was actually written in 1953. Now, there was a singer named Antonio Benedetto, and he was pretty popular for a while. And then all of a sudden, his popularity waned, and his career was heading down the tubes, as they say. And around 1962, 61, 62, his son took over his management. And this particular song was written actually in 1953, but in 1962, Antonio Benedetto, who we now know as Tony Bennett, left his heart in San Francisco, and it was his signature song for the rest of his life. Tony Bennett left his heart in San Francisco. Well, this next tune is from 1954. It's a French tune, and it came from a French movie or documentary or whatever it was called The Umbrellas of Cherbourg, written by a fellow named Michel Legrand. And of course it came to America, and I believe they had to either translate it or write new words and or lyrics. But nice tune called, well, just watch what happens. See what I did there? Oh boy. Watch What Happens. Watch What Happens. And I don't know if you heard what happened, but there's a function on this instrument which I had forgotten about. If when you're playing an organ sound, you kind of push down, all of a sudden it gets into the deeper organ sound. So that wasn't your TV set when the sound changed like that. And that was just one of the novelties of this great instrument. Well, we're getting down towards the end of our time, and this is going to be our final tribute song, shall we say. In 1969, a group called the Creedence Clearwater Revival had a huge hit in a tune called Proud Mary. A couple of years later, my next door neighbor, who had a brother who had a small amusement park, and he said, "Hey," he says, "my brother's got Ike and Tina Turner coming in. You want to go hear the show?" "Oh, duh, yeah, hello." So we all went to the Ike and Tina Turner show. And of course, that was still when they were together, and Ike was periodically beating Tina up. But so we saw the show, and after the show, we went backstage. We were having a very meaningless conversation with Ike, much to be forgotten. So we're standing there at a little group, and all of a sudden, this small person came up and stood beside me. So I looked down, exchanged howdies, and then I looked again. Oh, it's Tina. There is right here is where Tina Turner stood. And as wild and crazy as she was on stage, off stage, it's just very quiet as a mouse. You hardly knew she was there, but of course, with Ike, she probably had to be. But Tina Turner stood right, and I didn't wash this arm for a week, maybe 3 weeks. So 1971, Ike and Tina Turner had a huge hit on the same song, Proud Mary, and of course, it was called her way of it was her way out, because the song was such a huge hit, and she was finally able to get away from Ike. And of course, Ike eventually went to prison, and somebody did the world a favor and stuck him with a knife or something, so he died in prison. Of course, we just lost Tina. We just lost Tina several months or a couple of years ago, whenever it was. So now, when she did Proud Mary, she started it off nice and easy before she would. So let's see if we can. See, I'm not a rock guy, but let's see what we can do with it. Proud Mary, dedicated to Tina Turner. I guess she was living in France past, well, quite a few years. I guess she sort of retired from showbiz, and I think she was just enjoying life in France. And then, of course, the inevitable going to happen to us, yeah, even me someday. But I'm not planning on anything, you know, in the very near future. So I'm still going to be around. Well, that just about takes care of our show for today. Something a little different. I hope you enjoyed the memories of the folks that are no longer with us, and of course a few tunes. One or two, I'm not sure if I've ever even played on the show before, but I probably have, you know. So this is Coach Dave said. Thank y'all for watching, listening, tuning in, however it is that you get our show. And of course, and another usual big thanks to the big guy behind the glass, Austin Ricketts. If I sound good, it's Austin. If I sound bad, it's definitely Austin, because it can't be me, right? So let's take it home with a little more Tina Turner and Proud Mary.